How do we know that?
Well, we know this man. He's a game warden.
Actually, he didn't recommend.
No, we
didn't recommend.
We reached out to the
But
county.
we do know Mr.
Either
Carter.
way, maybe somebody else will do it a little cheaper, maybe somebody else is a little closer.
Right,
I
this
just
is
wonder
just
if
temporary.
maybe somebody should, you know.
Right.
We had that presence
Just
one
see if
time
we
in North
can
Lubec, but that
Right.
particular facility
Well,
closed.
and I'm not saying that there is somebody better out there, and I don't know this guy, and I don't know whether he's good or bad.
Right.
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
maybe more than one option is.
Good question.
Right, and we have talked about it, we talked about it last meeting. This is temporary until the end of the year.
Right.
And then at the beginning of the next fiscal year, which will happen in August, by then John will have had some time to look at different options.
Okay.
But we need an immediate solution
I
right
think-
now.
I think if a person put up a small building and stuff and had things set
Yeah,
up
don't
right.
look at me, James.
I thought we had a new business in town.
And certainly we would have to advertise and see if anyone else was interested. But right now we're having a hard time finding a place. John's been on the phone
I'll call
Quite
quite
a
a few
lot.
places.
I like the thoughts of Marshfield better than Ellsworth for
Right. Yeah.
people.
Yep.
Yeah, because it's hard to retrieve your animal in Ellsworth, you know, if you live in Lubec, but.
And one good long run, make them so they keep an eye on it next time.
Yeah,
Well,
that's true.
That's true.
So we have a motion and a second. Any more discussion?
And that was a good point.
Let's
Yeah,
look
thank
into all our
Assets. I mean,
options.
yeah.
Okay,
So,
okay.
Yeah.
Yes, sorry. All in favor?
Wake me up.
My goodness, John, does this ever end?
Actually, it goes on the other side. It's even on
Are
the other
you
side.
kidding me?
No, it does.
Next. I'm losing my voice.
I didn't even know there was a page two.
Oh, yes.
Next item.
Since when did we start using the backside of stuff?
Moving
I ran
right
out-
along.
I ran out of room on one page.
This is over, so I go.
At the last meeting, we talked about the discussion of the People's Alliance and
Resolution?
the People's Alliance resolution. And Betty sent out a sample. I've got these numbers here, and I'm going to pass those out to the board.
Sarah sent out the sample.
Sarah sent out the sample.
Sarah sent
Been a
out.
long day.
Just what I read earlier.
Long night.
Sarah, you want to be up there? Okay.
Well,
The big thing, Betty, the third one down, Betty went through and compiled some numbers that I thought were pretty surprising. Lubec is comprised of 24,500 total acres. And out of those total acres, you know, you look at how much is untaxable, open space, tree growth, and everything that, you know, we're not allowed tax upon, and the total is over 8,000 acres, you know, over 1/3 of Lubec's total land mass is either untaxable or undertaxed.
Well, it's a good tax write-off for somebody.
I don't have an objection to the land trusts per se. I don't have objection to people putting their land in that, but I do have a big gripe that if they're saving this money, soliciting this money to buy this land, they need to solicit money to pay the taxes.
I agree. One of the things that I had found and come to realize is the value down in Portland for an acre of land on the shore is the same as what it is up here. And the way they deal down there with their values is there's a 3% margin in there that down there they have committees and stuff, and when it hits that 3% margin, they have committees and everything, and they'll go in and vote and say, not in our town. And up here, there's just no way that it's ever going to come to that same amount of money to be able to have a board like that. So this is why they have such large. I'll tell you what, I mean, too much of anything isn't good. And when you take this much property into this town alone, if the town's a patient and the property is a cancer, I don't think the doctor can make the person live, because it's just gonna keep going and going. And I think that's the agenda from a long time ago. They just wanna take and beautify this area, and like I said, I'm an outdoors person, and I love parks, and I go to the Allegheny all over the place, but it's just getting to the point where enough already. And I've tried, since I've lived in Whiting, several different ways to try to do it on the diplomatic side of things, even to the point of having the town vote here on no more land can be taken out of the town of Lubec off the tax books. And that's illegal. Augusta
Of course
has
it is,
crossed
yeah.
every T, dotted every I, so a taxpayer ain't got a choice. No.
I mean, you know,
And we're not picking on you.
No, Melissa, no, I'm not picking on you. I'm not, no, that's not the point at all. You're right.
It's sad because, as you found out in Augusta,
Oh.
they still continue to
Right.
put it in our valuation.
right.
Um,
And then-
there's no recognition that we can't tax this land, that we have to pass
Well-
the burden along to the other taxpayers.
Well, I said yesterday to him up there while I was there, that it's, everybody was giving their gloom and doom. And when I had a chance to get up and speak, I said ours is the same as many other towns.
Mhm.
But, you know, on a lighter note, if they wanted to make some money and bring in some revenue, is to have a real estate sale down in Lubec, prime property. And if the companies and corporations wanted to come in and buy it, and pay the taxes on it, and what I've been told on the structural and the building side of things, nothing ever wants to come here, so it'll always stay green.
Mm.
You know, you get fed both lines, right? And it's really, it's,
I know,
It's
I think
difficult.
it's fair to apprise the public of the fact that yesterday at the State House, the Tax and Finance and Appropriations Committee had their meeting regarding the governor's proposed biannual budget.
Mhm.
And Lubec sent representatives, James Jones, myself, and Jim Clark, to represent our fellow taxpayers. And we had to wait a very long time to get something to say, because we weren't big guys in suits with companies that were
Right.
getting railed by the governor's plans. But we still felt it was worth a visit to the State House
Oh, yes.
to express our concerns for our town.
yeah.
And I'm glad you told Melissa we're not picking on her, because I actually
Yeah.
used her as an example of
Yeah.
your organization,
Yeah.
in that you have a conscience, in that you are aware of the damage that this much land in a small town
Right.
has an effect on our valuation, and that you, in lieu of taxes, periodically, your organization gives a donation to town for some project that is
Right.
Sizable donation.
a sizable
Yeah.
donation. And my
Right.
reason for doing that was to see if any of these other organizations had a conscience as well.
Mm-mm.
Now, it would be nice if they did, but we're the canary in the coal mine. When you take almost 1/3 of the land mass and make it so you can't use its valuation, well, we're gonna blink out here pretty quick. And
Right.
so, so if people don't know, you can watch us on MPBN. It's the comedy section at the end of the Tax Finance Committee meeting.
It must be, because when the board was there, and they was talking to all the big pulp and paper companies and all these big CEOs and presidents, and they're talking millions of dollars, and they're talking jobs. And just as soon as them fellas slid out, and it was the time for the municipalities, several of the men got up and left. One of the guys, which had said at the beginning of the meeting, if you're here, just to simply say, you've got to change it. It would be easier and time saved if you just went out in the hall. Well, I really wanted to nail him, but he got up and left, so I could give him a...
We kept our seats, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
Those are our kind of representatives that should be voted out.
Yeah, yes,
Yeah.
I agree. And you could see it. It was almost like watching an old movie where they hang the guy in town. The whole town knows that he's innocent, but no one says nothing.
Nope.
Right.
And it happens. And it's just too bad.
It's just pretty sad to
is.
think that's
It's a
our
shame.
elected representative and how they
Right.
value the opinions
And
of municipalities.
Just
and
like with
taxpayers.
Melissa said, with the
Well, they do
seaweed
right
and all the
before
other
election.
things, they put other boards in order, and then they give them rulings, powerful rulings. And they don't even hit on half of the things that's being made into rulings and so forth, just like with what you got here tonight. And you ask half of them, and I'd be very surprised if 3 out of 5 knew what was on the agenda. because they passed it to somebody else, it's not fair.
So Sarah, that was the unique stamp
Yeah.
that I felt Lubec needed to put on this resolution.
Yeah.
Because not every community opposing that
Right.
has that situation. And that's what I was trying to get across to you, is like, we need to state this. It's a
Yeah.
reality for us.
Yeah.
And our demographics are here, tries to lay out how far away we are from the next communities.
There's a lot that said that.
Mhm.
It doesn't just single and try to blame one aspect of it, it's
No.
very
No, it's a
fair,
combination of things.
Yeah.
objective view.
Review is obviously necessary for Title 36.
Oh, yeah.
This was very well put together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would like to thank Betty for her hard work.
Sorry, most of it, I just filled in the
Sorry, you're on
blanks.
top.
You did a lot of the map work, and I think
Wow.
that was very effective.
Very
Right.
color-coded map that makes it easy to people
Yeah.
realize just
They
how
loved
much
it up there. They
Yes.
loved it, colors and everything, they were.
Yeah,
We've already had a request.
MMA contacted us today and they wanted those maps that
for feet.
they had.
Well, I apologize for the fact that we were not able, as a small town, with a small town budget, to produce that many copies. They
Right.
requested 40 copies of everything. And I apologize for the fact that we had 40 copies of the data handout, but to do 40 copies of the maps would have been a wheelbarrow